Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Center podcast. First up, AriseBank ICO fraud case may have ensnared additional parties. The AriseBank trouble with the government resurfaces. So apparently they have possibly been withholding from disclosing all the assets the founders and the company itself had. And the one that's investigating this has estimated that there's around $1 million worth of assets in cryptocurrency that can be seized. And in addition, with other things like smartphones and computers that may be seized and liquidated. The smartphones and computers are first up for liquidation, and you would think the courts would just refund the crypto to the people who sent it in for the ICO and whatever, but that is not the case. They are awaiting instructions on how to proceed with the liquidations of crypto too. So for now, that $1 million-ish of crypto will just be sitting somewhere if they get their hands on it, and who knows what they'll do or when will they liquidate it. And this is just a warning to be careful with things just like this, because this could have been easily your money if you made the wrong bet. And in this specific situation, the big giveaway was the lack of public documentation on some of the claims. For example, for the FDIC banks, you should be able to publicly search those, and there'd be information publicly available to support any claims of that. But the biggest giveaway here was the fact that one user on Reddit or something revealed the criminal history of the founder, and being involved in petty fraud disallows you from even being associated with FDIC status banks. So they couldn't even have a partnership or anything like that from the get-go just because of his criminal history. So it wasn't something that was even possible at the jump. So just take the time to look into things and research before you throw your money at something. SEC sends waves of subpoenas to ICOs, including Overstock's tZERO. So the SEC has kicked off March, throwing off scores of subpoenas to companies and to advisors. And to reiterate, as always, that the SEC basically sees all ICOs as unregistered securities and will treat them as such. So according to a statement they said about last month, I think it was around either before the court hearing in February, they said that they saw that basically every ICO from that point was an unregistered security, and none of them went through the process of becoming registered. So just be careful with any US-based ICOs or ICOs that allow US investors, because the SEC has a weird jurisdiction range, and any company that sells unregistered securities to US citizens, the SEC has weird jurisdiction to pursue them. And Overstock defends tZERO ICO, saying that the SEC has subpoenaed everyone else but them, and is more of asking cooperation from Overstock, tZERO subsidiary, than trying to do anything to them. And they're claiming because they filed paperwork to be an exclusion to the securities law, and that's why they think the SEC is asking for cooperation rather than just straight up subpoenaing them. And there's just one little thing about this, how apparently there's a division of enforcement in the SEC that usually only gets involved with cases that they think are material and could lead to something, and they're involved with this Overstock situation. But Overstock is confidently saying that it's more of them working with regulators rather than being pursued by regulators. Just because, like I said, they filled out the documents to be counted as an exemption or exclusion, but it just might have not been fully accepted and done. Bitcoin wallet and Jaxx blockchain wallet contains major security flaws. The Cheetah Mobile Blockchain Research Lab has made some big claims, and a lot of other news outlets aren't really reporting the full story. And I say that because it says the Bitcoin wallet inherently like has plain text on its app, and you can get the mnemonics from that. Well, I was looking around, I just happened to see I think it was a Bitcoin developer or something who was kind of flaming Roger Ver. It was like, oh, the wallet's garbage, but then he recited that because he looked into it more himself and saw that it wasn't the wallet itself that was leading to this exploit. It was the fact that if you had a application that it could access the root of the phone, you'd be screwed, you'd be screwed for any program. So in this case, it was less the Bitcoin wallet's fault and just more a user security error, at least in how I'm seeing it. But for the Jaxx side of things, apparently its problem is just very, very bad encryption and Android specific exploit where you can upload your private key to another device. So hackers can upload your private key to another device using Android's backup system. So all I'm really getting from this is don't use a mobile wallet. Don't use mobile for anything crypto related because it's highly unsecure, and your phone anyway is a very, very unsecure device. So don't use your phone. Use a laptop. Use a desktop. Use something. I wouldn't even use a tablet. Use something a little bit more powerful. Something you can have more control over. Because I've heard in some cases that even routing with your 4G, you could expose your phone to stuff. But that's more on a kind of government level thing rather than your run-of-the-mill hacker. Next up, 1 trillion investment management company is looking to get serious about crypto, which is a very misleading headline. In actuality, what this was saying was that this investment group was looking into crypto-related things such as investing into mining companies or mining manufacturers and blockchain companies in themselves rather than crypto coins, like cryptocurrency, the coins. This company was looking more for already established companies that are diving into crypto or have some kind of stake in crypto like Nvidia and soon to be Samsung. Well, and still, even if this isn't direct crypto investment, it's still kind of indirectly good for the market, but nothing substantial will come out of this for the average person. Walmart wants blockchain to make shipping smarter. So Walmart is looking into blockchain to possibly work in tandem with drones for package recovery. And even at the drone aspect, that's interesting. Smart packages involving blockchain is the natural progression as the Internet of Things becomes more and more common around. And this next article about JD.com to track beef imports using blockchain platform kind of ties in with this because JD.com is part of this little food traceability alliance with Walmart. And they're looking to upgrade their meat's reputation by utilizing blockchain, by knowing exactly where the cows are raised, what facility it was killed in, and how it was transported. All these things will come together and allow consumers to have more confidence in ordering meat online. It will also help with dealing with recalls and other sourcing related issues like disease or anything that could pop up. Richard Sherman loves crypto but hates trading fees. So Richard Sherman has proved to be one of the more eclectic NFL players. And as mentioned on a previous interview, the X-Trade interview, we talked about how exchanges are making a killing off people who trade. And because their fees are insane and it adds up. When you're trading, 0.5% doesn't even register in your brain. But when you're doing 0.5% 10 times or 20 times a day, you're losing money constantly. And if you're not making good trades, you're just losing this giant chunk. Well, not really. Well, eventually a giant chunk out of your total. And the more you trade, the more you lose. So it's just a situation where either holding's the best situation to do, or making big plays, like big trades all at once, is better, because a lot of small trades, you're just losing money, or you're not really losing money, but you're not reaching the full potential of what you could have gotten. And it'll be even more apparent if you're trading with a higher amount of money, because instead of losing just a couple cents or $1 or $2, you're losing hundreds of dollars a trade straight to fees. And expect more Wall Street traders to move in and support whatever platform that gives the lowest trading fees, as they move in with their high frequency trading platforms and such, but that's a ways away. But do realize that in crypto's current form, these exchanges are getting away with ludicrous fee ranges. Binance has the best fee, I believe, the lowest, but I don't understand why people buy from Coinbase, because Coinbase has an insane fee, paying 1.5% or something for depositing and withdrawal. That's insane and just a stupid number. And I know people don't constantly buy from Coinbase, but still, no matter, it adds up if you're buying a smaller amount of coin, and you should probably not use Coinbase. Bitstamp, slightly better, even more better. Uphold's been really good lately, and I feel like it's one of the better alternatives, since it's still kind of small. But yeah, exchanges are making a killing. But you should have knew that. That's why that's why Binance grew so fast. I mean, because a major altcoin exchange like that is just printing money off fees. And even if with the lowest fees, it's just crazy volume just makes the money. A major Dutch bank is looking into cryptocurrency wallets for its customers. So Dutch Rabobank is considering allowing its users to have a unified place for their fiat and crypto. It will be utilized through the Rabobank app. And you'll be able to use crypto, I guess, as a payment through this app, possibly. But it's not official, because they're just looking into it as their little pilot program and not doing it any kind of official way yet. But it could be a real thing. It could turn into an innovative pilot program to something real, but who knows? Next up, Liechtenstein's bank Frisk is offering cryptocurrency investment and cold storage. And I really echoed the sentiment last episode, and not last episode, but in a previous episode a few weeks ago. And I was mentioning how banks, the bigger ones are just too inflexible, and the smaller ones have that flexibility to adopt crypto wholeheartedly, rather than having all these internal differences based on either age, years experience, or whatever. So this Frisk Bank kind of echoed that and said that they believe too that big banks are scared of it, just because they don't understand it and they can't move as fast. And that's definitely what I think too. Like I said, it's an interesting opportunity for these smaller banks to invest in crypto. Invest in crypto services and offering kind of a storage system, a storage service for institutions. Definitely beneficial to these banks and these institutions to not have that liability. But it seems like it might be a service that's kind of catered to big money first than anything. And considering how the market's super down now, I think it's going to be limited like that for a while. But if you're smaller, you should be having an easier time to handle your crypto, and you really don't need a bank to do so, or you're kind of losing out on, I feel like, a lot of potential opportunities by not controlling your own keys. Next up, the U.S. government wants to keep 5.5 million in seized Bitcoin. Another kind of misleading thing. It's more like the government wants to auction off more Bitcoins in the future by forcing these people to forfeit their good property. This links back to another thing covered in a previous episode. It was how these guys who was forging documents got caught and their Bitcoins were seized. And in this situation, the government's wondering what to do with them. Most likely, they're going to auction them off like they did beforehand, which is why they're trying to force the defendants to give up their coins as they lose the court case, because they were 100% apparently forging fake IDs. And that's a big no-no. Vulnerable. Ethereum's Casper tech takes criticism at the Curacao event. And the biggest point is just a very obvious point of proof of stake being the rich controlling everything. Personally, I think delegated proof of stake is better, at least on paper. In reality, it probably doesn't actually have a lot of people participating, just like regular democracy. Sucks. But a good thing that was said is we don't really know the full extent of these technologies, and utilizing them is the only way we'd be able to find all these hidden issues. But still, yeah, proof of stake is not the end-all be-all solution, especially since proof of work is proven to be kind of more secure and for verification, even though proof of work will definitely have a lot of uphill battles to face, as energy costs or energy efficiency of it does not go up, and the rising cost for mining anything. Alright, next up is banks successfully transaction 30 million in securities using blockchain technology. We've had this topic on a lot too, is tokenization. And all this is saying is this is just a proof that securities will be in the form of tokens to allow easy and transactions with less friction. And that is where we're headed, to tokenizations of assets. Hopefully we'll get someone to be able to talk about that soon, because I still don't fully understand tokenization on things that are more material and physical. Documents make sense. Digital goods make sense. A car doesn't make sense in my head, but we'll see. Bitcoin's kimchi premium is over. And this is basically saying that Korea is now at human levels. Beforehand, a month ago, you'd see Korea at 20% plus more than most of the market, easily, all the time. And that was just the Korean going wild for crypto. But now, after the government has curb stomped a lot of the speculation and forcing compliance with the exchanges, we're seeing that the Korean premium no longer really exists, and the price of the coin is relatively similar. I think Korea still has a bit of a premium, but it's nowhere near the levels it was a month ago, which is good for the overall market, considering Korea doesn't need to be fueled by speculation, because it is one of the biggest markets and still is. And it'll be better if they start adapting legitimate projects and putting money with legit things rather than just trying to make more money for free. Chile is putting energy regulation on the blockchain. It just surmounts utilizing the blockchain to authenticate average. They're authenticating average material prices, marginal costs, fuel prices, and compliance with renewable energy laws. So it's basically a way to easily track everything right then and there. So thanks, blockchain, I guess. And finally, the Japanese crypto exchanges have officially announced the self-regulating body. This is really what all crypto needs, is a self-regulating body to try to get all bad actors out while they still have control, while we still got control. Because in the future, the government will be the ones attempting to regulate, and it will definitely be something that's garbage and none of us want. So just keep that in mind. Always try to get these self-regulatory groups up and try to police people from being scum, basically. Because shouldn't be doing that. Should be good and try to serve your customers well. And that's what the Japanese have been doing, considering CoinCheck, the Japanese exchange that got hacked, they paid all of the money out of their pocket instead of giving the users some kind of dumb balance thing. And that's why that exchange is still functioning. Obviously, very weakly compared to what it was, but because of its actions, people don't completely hate it like they do with most exchanges that undergo anything similar. And hopefully Japan will be a role model that people actually follow regarding the whole self-regulatory framework, and even bailing out, even like using their own money to pay for what they messed up, like, or what they lost in the hack. And that'll be it for today. A little bit longer discussion, about normal discussion, I believe, from what it usually is. And tune in Thursday for just another good episode. No limits, no rushing, just a premium episode. But tune in next time on Thursday. Tune in on possibly Saturday, because I might just do a couple back-to-back weekend releases of these interviews this month. Special promotion month, April, I guess. So see you guys Thursday.